Hi guys, it's Amy and welcome to my channel, Strength Reverse. Thank you for watching. And if you're a new subscriber, thank you for joining me in my living room on the couch. And I have a book for you today. I went to the library last week and I got sort of a library haul, so I'm going to share some of the books. Other than that, I usually am way cuter, as you know. And I just got back from the gym, and this has been one of those videos that's been like, this is take 20. You know, it's just everything keeps happening. And so I put my regular shirt back on, and we're going to pretend like I'm not wearing yoga pants. Okay, let's pretend like I'm actually dressed. This week I've been busy and productive in an introverted sort of way. As you know, I'm an extreme introvert, and the way we are busy and productive is I watched a lot of TV, I kind of putzed around the house, I did a load of dishes, I did a little laundry, but mostly I did some tarot and read a bunch of books, so yay me. I watched the miniseries Chernobyl. And that was a pretty intense show, but it was really good. Tarot-wise, I've been working a lot with my Radiant Wise Spirit, and I did a video last week about that. I just got it. And I happened to go to Books A Million for the first time in probably 2 or 3 years. And lo and behold, there on the shelf is multiple copies of not only that deck, but many popular decks. And it's out there. I know a lot of people pre-ordered it, but it's on shelves now. And we've gone mainstream. I don't know how I feel about tarot being, you know, out there. I mean, I guess that's ego talking. Anyway, book one of my library haul is something that I enjoyed reading. It is a novel called Tarot. It was published this year in 2019, and it is by Marissa Kennerson. And the subtitle here is Her Fate is So Much More Than the Cards She Was Dealt. I enjoyed it. I would give it out of 5 stars, 3.5. But it's worth your time reading it if you are a tarot fan. It's kind of, it would be a quick read, and it's just like light entertainment. This is about a protagonist named, now this is young adult literature, and it's a fantasy genre. I have occasion to read young adult literature because I teach young adults as well as literature, and so that kind of works out, but I do have some peeves about that genre. Anyway, she is a 16-year-old protagonist. Her name is Anna, and she has been imprisoned her whole life in the tower. The person she thinks is her father is the king, and he is referred to as the Hierophant King. And in his kingdom, there is no free will. He believes in fixed fates, and he thinks that if people are left to their own devices, that it creates problems. And so everyone's life is totally predetermined from the time they're born, what they're going to do and things like that. Anna's real father is the moon, who there is no moon in the Hierophant's kingdom because it represents magic, and also there's a, you know, you have to read the book and you'll understand why. So the moon has been banished, but the moon has appeared to Anna in her dreams for most of her life. And so the king tells her she has to weave these 4 tapestries, and then if she finishes by her 16th birthday, he will release her. And so these tapestries come out of her imagination and her dreams, and also what she's learned from her advisors who have basically raised her. And they are the Fool, the Magician, and the Hermit. And the Magician is her aunt. It's a female magician. This is the sister of the guy who was the moon. And they've guided her. And so Anna created these 4 kingdoms and these tapestries to represent, in her mind, what life might have been like in these 4 kingdoms. And of course, the 4 kingdoms represent the 4 suits of the tarot deck. So the whole book is basically kind of how, a myth about how maybe the tarot came to be. Anyway, Anna escapes because the king breaks his promise, and they help her escape, and the tower is destroyed. If you are a tarot person, you will recognize a lot of tarot elements, like the tower crumbling, or the white lilies and red roses on the table, or the little dog that follows the fool around. If you're not into tarot, you'd probably be a little bit confused, or at least you would miss some interesting things. So anyway, Anna runs away and magically ends up in the Kingdom of Cups, and people there have little chalice tattoos on their arms, and everyone there is a teenager. So there are no kids, there are no adults, no one really remembers any of their history or how they came to be, but everyone's a teenager, including the king and queen. And so, yada, 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 a bunch of stuff happens, and the Hierophant is after her, and in order to defeat him, she creates her own army, and this own army is called the Major Arcana. During this time, when she escapes, she can't bring her tapestries with her, and so she cuts out all the little figures, and when she's contemplating things, she will look at these different figures doing different things, kind of like tarot cards, and it gives her guidance. I'm just going to read you a little snippet about when the Major Arcana was introduced. This army would embody the most powerful parts of being. Each might stand alone. She thought of her illustrations of strength and death, but together they would make up a sort of council for the soul. She would imbue them with great wisdom and great power, and they would be the protectors of her worlds. I thought that passage was really cool, but that to me was really the only passage that sort of, gave me chills. I think, and this, to me, a lot of young adult literature is like this. The story could have been so much more. And she does spend all of her time in the Kingdom of Cups, but it does sort of leave it open to possibly sequels where she visits the Land of Pentacles or, whatever. I really wish when the Major Arcana was introduced, it's really cool the way, for example, the depiction of what we see on the Judgment card, how that relates to the story. They take each picture on the cards and kind of relate it to what happened in this story. But each description was so brief. I just wanted more. I wanted more connections to the tarot. But otherwise, it was kind of cool to read. A couple things that I didn't care for. Well, first of all, I didn't understand why the Hierophant was so vilified, because when she made the Major Arcana, she referred to it as these 21 figures, and the Hierophant was never reunited into that. He was banished. And so that was a little bit weird. But most of the novel is her time in the Land of Cups. And of course, there's a love story going on, which teen romance kind of makes me throw up in my mouth a little bit. But I have this literary pet peeve, and my literary pet peeve is bad dialogue. I don't like unrealistic dialogue, like stuff that's too Pollyanna or Leave It to Beaver. It's just a little bit too precious. And you just go, people don't talk like that. I got one chapter into a Nicholas Sparks novel and was like, I can't do this. It's just not going to happen. That happens a lot in young adult novels, and that kind of irks me. Also, in the Land of Cups, like I said, there are no adults. They're all teenagers, but the king and queen live together as husband and wife. They are, you know, this land is the Land of Cups is everything that the Hierophant's kingdom is not. People are free, they have free will, they do things that they like, and everyone contributes, and it's sort of like this hippy dippy commune kind of a thing. And everyone's just overly nice to each other. And I don't like in the young adult literature when you have these teenagers that are like self-actualized and polite and worried about other people, and they have good manners. And I just think, have you ever met a teenager? They're not like that, okay? But these teenagers sort of, I don't like that they act like adults. There's nothing naughty, but there is this kind of insinuation of a lot of sexual freedom. They drink. There's a festival one night where they do other things. I don't see a 16-year-old who, you know, likes a boy for the first time going, I just have to feel close to you. Let's take a bath, which does happen. So it was kind of made me a little bit like, it was a little cringy, but there was nothing, it was more college behavior than what I would consider high school behavior. So I didn't like that. But the story itself, if you're looking for just a good read to entertain you, I would check it out. And so if you're interested in reading it, or if you have read it, or you're gonna read it, let me know, because I'd be interested in seeing what your opinion is of whether you feel like there's enough tarot in here or not. And I did read the acknowledgements, and she does talk about, because I wanted to know if this person was just kind of riding the tarot wave, or if she was someone who is knowledgeable about tarot in her own right and, you know, was a tarot reader. I don't know how much she reads, but she does talk about her first tarot reading, and she says that she used Skye Alexander's The Only Tarot Book You'll Ever Need as a reference for this book, and also Johann Feibig and Evelyn Berger's The Ultimate Guide to the Rider-Waite for a lot of her information on this book. And I think she's into tarot. I don't know if she reads, but she's at least into tarot. So let me know what you think if you read this book. It was entertaining, and I think you'll like discovering some of the little subtle tarot references. And I got that new deck. It arrived like 3 days ago, and I'm too afraid to open it. I'm just like too nervous to open it. I'm so freaking excited about this deck. I will for sure do a video on it. Thanks, guys. Make sure you like or subscribe. See you later.